Hello everyone and welcome once again to the Deiser connection. How you're doing? I hope that you're doing really great. We're thrilled, we're stoked that we reached the 20th episode, and because of that we wanted to make it a little bit more special, and we decided to invite a guest. And since this guest was around Madrid this week, we called him, and he accepted to come to the Deiser Connection Studios and have a chat about the marketplace. I'm talking of no other than Fede and Andy. We have a really long chat and this is what went down. So I'll leave you to it and see you later. Bye-bye. There you go. Fede and Andy for you guys again the second time around. So hopefully, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. It's going to be a really cool episode. It's always cool to have you here, Andy. And
thanks for having me.
No, don't worry. It's a pleasure, as always. And okay, so remember that in our last video, we talked about the 5 steps that a customer might be taking towards facing the Atlassian Marketplace.
Yes.
So right now we decided to talk about the other side, like facing the other way, like from the vendor's perspective. So what should a vendor take into account, about the Atlassian Marketplace?
There's so much, right? Last time we talked about the top 5 tips for customers purchasing from the marketplace.
Yes.
This one is more sort of what are the 100,000 plus pitfalls for a vendor that they need to watch out on?
Exactly.
Shout out to Jens Schumacher from Release Notes.
Nice.
Hi Jens. He was in there's a private Slack group that we'll get to about what should marketplace partners do, but he put on a really nice open piece. He started a thread that talked about what I wish I knew 6 months ago when launching my app. It was something like that. And that's not even a little bit tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
But what you saw in the thread was loads of people coming in with their own experience.
Exactly.
So there's a lot going on. There's someone who wants to become a marketplace vendor and hopefully grow to marketplace enterprise platinum partner.
Exactly.
There's a difference in those, right?
Yeah, that's because
people don't know. What's the difference between a vendor and a partner?
There you go. That's
Numbers
it.
game,
Numbers. Right? That's it, because there might be a lot of perspectives. Not only how to approach, but the thing is that what to offer the client, what kind of app would you like to offer the client? So what would your view be like? What should the vendor aim? It's like in order for the user, the customer, to have all the information, and to be able to choose the app, what should the vendor aim at?
The origins of Marketplace, which is now over 11 years old, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Celebrated the 10 years, May of last year. So the origins was Jira was great, Confluence was great, Bitbucket was great, everything was great. However, there was a but. But it's not quite doing what I want as a user. So mainly software developers, right? Way back in the mid 2000s to 2010. Mainly developers, right? So people start hacking together the solution to their pain point.
Yes.
And that is definitely top number 1 advice to people who think, I think I've got a great app idea. I want to go on the marketplace. Brilliant. Are you specifically solving a pain point or a challenge or an element of everyday work life and business that people are struggling with? I think that if you have a great app in your mind, if it doesn't translate to that solves a problem for someone, then you really need to think about it. There's a very good book. I've only read it once, but it's quite a short book. It's quite easy. It's called The Mum Test. I got it from Chris Cook. Another shout out. Custom charts integrations. The Mum Test is great, right? Because if you go to the synopsis of the book is, if you go to your mum, I've got a great idea for an app. Oh yeah, sweet. Oh, it's awesome. I love it. Right? No. So really think about pain points. Right?
Yes.
If you want to go on the marketplace, what are you fixing to someone? What solution do you offer to challenges, issues? Yeah,
exactly. That's something like that. That's really cool. So and when you have some kind of idea, what would be, some kind of idea? Maybe you already started developing it, and what should you do? Should you start testing it? Should you just release it in the marketplace and see what it does, and see how it performs, for your own own goals, and stuff like that? What should you do? When you already have something.
That's a really interesting question. I think it depends on what the app does, what it's looking to solve as a problem for people.
Oh, we have a cat, we have a
guest,
visitor. Special guest. Hey, Gecko.
And so yeah, it depends on what the app is doing. I think it can't hurt to always just put it out there, right? Because the more people that test it, the more you're going to get feedback, and you're going to find what's wrong and what's going on and stuff like
exactly, that. Because we love feedback. We want to know what the users.
Yeah, I think it also doesn't hurt to work out the ways. I can't remember what it's officially called, but you can release apps without being on the marketplace, right?
Yes.
So there are ways to put them on different sandboxes, and maybe with your friends or people who work in big enterprise customers or whatever, and have them install it, and then you'll be able to run the testing that way before an official launch. So that, I think for me it would be, just throw it out there and see how it goes, especially if someone is confident, like, oh, I know this is going to work. I know it will solve problems. Let's just do it and let's launch it. And I think before that one, nowadays, unfortunately, very strong in 2023. Am I building this on Forge or am I building this on Connect?
That's a good one there.
Right? So, Connect is great. It was the standard way back when, but now Atlassian is pushing Forge, and now what I know, just to throw shade at Atlassian, because it wouldn't be a podcast if I didn't say something negative about Atlassian, right? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So,
there we go. That's it, just a little bit of change.
There are now people in the marketplace industry, on the vendor, on the partner side, that know more about Forge than Atlassian. Atlassian is asking them questions about their own platform, which is very interesting, which is great. That's actually kind of what you want.
Exactly.
People who use it tell us what's wrong or how to do it better.
That's feedback for Atlassian too, and so users that know more about it.
Even before the release or in the very early MVP or even proof of concept stages of an app, am I doing this on Forward or am I doing this on Connect? What is going to be beneficial long term? Because to dive straight into another top tip, scalability. Does this scale?
Exactly.
How can I grow it, right? If people start loving it and giving feedback, how do I manage my support? Do I have my JSM set up ready to go? So many top tips, right?
Yes,
the support documentation.
Documentation is really important.
There's so much. This is the 100,000 pitfalls of marketplace, right?
Exactly. Well, that's really cool. Forge and Connect. That's a really big topic. So if you have any questions about that, or if you have your own experience, do not hesitate to let us know in the comments, because we'll manage to answer it. If Andy's right there, he's gonna answer to you, and if I'm right there, I will try to answer, about Connect, because Deiser, our company also has those questions about what should we do? Should we go to Connect? Should we go Forge? And right now we're fully Forge. We just released a new app, that is in Forge, fully in Forge, and we're happy about it. It's working, and it's doing what we want to do, and everyone's happy right now. So let's hope that it's good for the customer too, that the customer has their information right away, with all the all the functionalities that cloud provides, and it's really interesting, and we love to see how you're doing with Forge too, or with Connect, so let us know. So moving on to the next thing, when you have developed it, and you reach the point of the really cool thing that we call go to market, that's a really big thing. What would your suggestions be on how to approach that?
So something that crosses the boundary of we're still developing and we're launching the go-to-market is who you're launching it for. So back, in the early parts of your development, are we Forge Connect? When you start getting a very solid product and you start thinking about this might be ready for release, maybe we, start our go-to-market, GTM, whatever. How are we going to approach that? There's like a cross moment of, is this going to be only for cloud? or are we doing this for both on-prem and cloud? Because we all know server is long dead now.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Support is going to expire soon, obviously, for server. But consider where data center is at and what the future of data center is. Those who know me very well know my opinion on that one, but we're not here for data center conversation. It's just about marketplace partners. So, you know, I remember one of my favorite apps is AI Insights for JSM.
Yes.
By a really cool company down under called, I don't know if it's right to say down under anymore, but they are in Australia on the southern hemisphere. Deiser.
Okay.
So really cool. Uli and the team there have a very cool app. And it was only data center for a long time. And I remember 2 years ago going, why is it on the cloud? Well, you know, like blah, blah, blah. There were good reasons technically, but they do now have a cloud version of the app, right?
Yes.
So that's great. Everybody thinks I'm pro being anti data center. I'm not. I just, you know, when we talk about don't F the customer, be honest with people and have open, honest conversations.
Yes.
Don't outright say, I'm a marketplace partner and yes, my data center app will exist for forever. I mean, you know, look at certain factors, you know that's not true, right? However, my advice when it comes to just cloud or both is to do both. And the reason being is that there are still huge companies and lots of money to be made out of data center and on-prem. And at some point, there will come a time, maybe 5 years, maybe 10, maybe 15, more likely 5 to 7, what? The data center is going to start phasing out from the Atlassian ecosphere and won't be around anymore. So do you wait for those customers to come to cloud and use your app on cloud? No, I wouldn't. I would be like, right, I'm going to make this cross-platform.
Exactly.
Project Track is cross-platform. Custom Charts is cross-platform.
Exactly.
Many apps are cross-platform. And it just makes sense because although one thing that people will also notice as well, right, and we'll probably get to that later about pricing because it comes as part of go-to-market. Cloud makes way more much money than data center. Exactly. That's just a fact. You look at marketplace, you think,
exactly.
So
that's a really good point, you know, also because I don't know, there's really big companies that still are working on-prem, you know, and they're thinking about moving at some point to cloud because it's the suggested thing to do nowadays for the past 3 years at least, you know, because we know that server in February server is not going to be anymore, you know, that data center is going to be there, but no one knows, you know.
And another thing that's really good advice is especially there's a whole different array of pitfalls and what to watch out for if someone is starting as a first-time vendor. That is definitely something that needs a lot of consideration and really talk to all the different people and get a lot of advice and everything from everyone who's been there and done that. On the flip side, when it comes to the data center with existing partners, vendors, most of them already have some form of customer base for data center. So if there is a new app idea and it's sort of, okay, let's start the go-to-market, part of that pre-go-to-market should definitely be customer success. Talk to the data centers because at some point, once data center phases out, there's a lot of those customizations, there's all those unique environments and people are doing a lot of stuff their own way with data center. It may be that you find 50 customers who say, well, this is how we customize. Oh, but at cloud, we can't do that. So we're probably going to need an app. And if the app is solving that problem, now's the time to already talk to them and say, here's an app for the future. So get them thinking about it. So definitely for go-to-market, you know, talk to all the different customers that might be interested in this app and already start showing them and getting them thinking about it.
As an example, you know, sometimes we had some customers with Project Track. We had some customers that were saying that they would like to move to cloud, you know, but at the point of testing our app in cloud, we had to tell them, you know, you are going to miss, you know, the script fields because those are something that you only get on the on-prem, you know, and it's something that they do think about it, and they do take into account when thinking about the move, the migration, you know, they're using the same app so it's a really good thing to start talking to the clients in data center in order to see what you can solve for them in cloud. So that's really good advice because I lived it, you know, we lived it in Deiser. So it's really good. It's really good. So
well, back to your point, your
exactly.
original question was about the go-to-market.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, so just to stay on that point for the moment, a lot of people are asking me, you know, how did Old Street Solutions do it? How do others do it that you're involved with through your own freelance company? And it's a bit too simple, but it's just noise.
Yes.
Right? So it's just making the noise, it's hitting up the right events, it's getting on the social media, interacting with people on the community where a lot of very well-educated and people, you know, very veteran, like nerdy people are hanging out. But it's all about the noise.
The noise, right?
But the noise is nothing if there's no call to action.
Yeah.
So you could be like, oh, well, you know, hey, Andy, you know, on your LinkedIn, you just make a lot of hoo-ha and blah, blah, blah. Well, the purpose of the noise on LinkedIn is to have people thinking constantly about it.
Yes.
You know, like, you got to sort of make sure that you're front and center when it comes to talking the loudest. But where does that go, right? So I'm currently mainly focused on announcing to the world custom charts integrations, do the podcast, do the events, this and that. Behind that, though, is all of, you know, the sales team, the customer success teams and everything like that are working on the call to action. So there's great blogs being written. There's great ways to communicate with people that's away from the social media as well. So it's a combination of both. So if there's a new app, you might have seen Resolution's new Not Another Stand-Up stand-up app.
Yeah. Really cool video.
It types with NASA with the video and stuff like that, right?
Really
so,
cool.
You know, that's a big, hardcore, boom, you know.
Yes, exactly.
Space, Star Wars type.
Star Wars. Armageddon, space, right? Armageddon, like, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
It is very cool.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, you know, you've got to make the right amount of noise because there are marketplace partners who come to me like, oh, you know, let's talk some business. And I've never heard of them before. So I go onto Marketplace, I check them out, I'm like, well, you've got 2,000-3,000 installs, you know, on average over 6 or 7 apps, but I never heard of you before. Right? So even the existing ones, we're talking about how to start, get going and everything like that. But even the existing ones are scratching their heads going,
how can we elevate this or
I'm not
improve
in go-to-market anymore. I'm not in GTM mode, but I am in, I want more AIR or more installs or more. So how do I do that? Right?
Exactly.
So it's like the noise, the call to action, good blogs. Comes back again to support. I will probably mention support 5 times today. If you don't have good support,
you're kind of doomed. Exactly. Support is a really big thing for us also because if the client is not happy, you know, whenever they have a problem and they are not happy, when you resolve the problem, you have a problem with the app, you know, and with the whole system. So you better check out your support, you know, and you better have a good support. Otherwise it's gonna be a really difficult, you know, go to market, a really difficult life for the app and for the company to maintain that app because probably people will talk about it, you know, like, yeah, this app is good, but they don't really.
And alongside with support, it goes in harmony together. It's great documentation.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So
that's it.
That is, for me, if you can have support and you can help people, you need to be taking what they're asking and say, well, do we have public documentation we can share with people? Yes, great. Yeah. But are the same questions still coming time and time again? Why is it not in the documentation? Update the documentation. If people still aren't finding it, how is it that you're not getting to them? Right. Exactly. So part of the go-to marketing strategy as well is to make sure that people are well informed. If you get an evaluation in the system and 2 days later it pops up and you can see it and that data is available and you've got an email or a telephone number, how do you engage that person? Right?
Yes, exactly.
How do you make sure that the people who are evaluating your products know how to find your documentation or your support? I'm not a massive fan personally. I know a lot of people do it, like more the marketing HTML style emails, like thanks for installing our app. So I'm more a fan of I'll do email sequencing. It will be automated, but it looks like a personal
email.
Exactly. Personal message. Hi, I saw you installed this.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like a really corporate, something like that. Yeah. So it's a little bit more close to the client. That's really good. It's good to know.
One thing that we spent a lot of time on when Resolution used to be, before Street obviously was acquired by Tempo. Last summer was a really nice on-site. Everyone got together and talked about how to handle evaluations and all of this sort of CRM business and stuff. And one of the conclusions that came out, it was really great because we brought everyone together. It wasn't just the salespeople or commercial people and their great ideas. Marketing was in those sessions, product was in those sessions, and basically the overall conclusion was, and this is very handy for people listening right now, is that people love self-serve. They actually don't want to talk to a sales or to a customer success or whatever until they have a problem. Well, that's then support as well, right? People love the self-serve. So it's like, how do you convince someone, you need to talk to me, and here's my link to book a session or whatever, but at the same time, here's all the documentation and we actually don't need to talk.
Exactly.
Because I think if you talk about sales for most partners, especially the mature ones, probably a lot of their growth has come very naturally.
Yes.
The app's there, it gains popularity, people install it. People like myself, people like you, people like hardcore Atlassian admins of huge enterprise systems. We just start diving in, we just start doing all of our stuff. And very often the only time we'll reach out to a vendor is, I'm stuck, I need a support ticket, what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So it's very handy to make sure that those people who are being self-served, who prefer the self-serve are being self-served.
Exactly. They have all the information.
And then serious growth happens when you start, going beyond those people to the people that do want to talk to you, and you focus on them. And when you get a reaction on the email or someone books a session, that's when you then have to, really engage.
Yeah, exactly. Be there, in order to, exactly.
So a big part of the go-to market is, it's not just the social medias, it's not just regular marketing. It's also how to interact with the people that are genuinely interested in your app.
Yes, that's a really good point too, because imagine that a new app comes into the marketplace and suddenly it has a lot of trials, but not so many conversions, And so what do you do then? It's like what is the next steps? If you see that there's so many trials, you might think that there might be something wrong with the app. So we need to ask the customers, we might not be showing the full potential of the app. There's so many questions that you have to answer, and who is the best to answer those questions? The customer, right? So yes, provide the customer with all the information right out of the bat, as you say, and try to focus on what they need, they're solving their problems, and if they have a problem, be ready with the support, documentation, etc. And if they want to talk to you about their app, be ready for that too, it's a really good thing.
To capture their attention is very challenging because there's all different types of customers, but probably the top two is, I'm just an Atlassian admin. And I was requested to install this free trial. Great, so I installed the free trial. That's already a dead end for an app vendor because that admin doesn't care, right? The person who needs the app could be in France. The budget holder could be in, say, Boston. And then the admin could be in Poland or Ukraine or even in France as well, right? And then there's all these different people. So it's really critical to get someone's attention in those first few days and work out what kind of is their role and stuff like this, right? The wordings being sent to them is very, very important because it could also be the project manager who needs the app but also has admin rights and can just install it themselves. And then their email's registered, right? So how do you handle in short email messaging all of these different personas, right? Give them the right info, but also say, hey, if you're not the right person who did install this, please, loop us in, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's a good piece of advice because it requires a focus on that or on also in try to arrange beforehand like the personas that your app is aimed to, the Jira admin, the product manager, etc. There's many, but that requires a lot of work in that. So it's really interesting. It's really cool. It is really cool.
I think what helps a lot for very fast growth is as much automation as possible.
Yeah.
Right. So even if it starts slow in the early days, and maybe there's only 5 or 10 evals a week, right? You can easily just download that data and start emailing people, right? When it starts getting too much, and you'll say 100 evals a month or something, then you can start downloading your weekly CSV files, right? And you can start putting it into automated email.
Yeah.
MailChimp, Mixmax, there's some great options out there.
Yes.
Right? So that you just take care of that self-serve and make sure you've got the right messaging. Here's our booking link, or if you're not the right person, please forward it on, that sort of stuff, right? And then the other one is basically when there is enough budget, when it's getting too much, is a really good CRM that's fully automated. So the best option is marketplace data is automatically passed to the CRM. The CRM's running it and is sending all of those messages out as well. It's very intense.
Yes.
And it's very challenging to set up and get right, but I think that it just works wonders because you're no longer downloading CSV files or trying to work out personas. You work out a blanket messaging that works for everybody, 2 or 3, maybe 4 emails. Yeah. And you just let that go out.
Because CRMs, are, as you said, they're kind of difficult to arrange, and set up in order for they to be able to help you. It takes some time, so that's inexpensive, right? Yeah, CRMs are expensive. HubSpot is one of those tools, and
which is a great tool.
It is.
But not when you have 1 million contacts and you're paying per contact.
Yeah, exactly. But also, it's kind of difficult to understand easily. It has how would the curve of the learning curve will be with HubSpot? It's super slow. It's like it will take you a big amount of time in order to start taking advantage really well from that tool,
and you can there's different modules, right? So there's
exactly.
Focus on the sales, one fully focus
on the emails, right? And dashboards. You have different kinds of stuff. Programs. What about programs in the marketplace? Programs like about security. We're talking a little bit about cloud, and cloud is all about security too, right?
I think rounding off the whole conversation, it's a mix of everything. Sales and marketing, technical, how to approach everything. I would say the ultimate advice is it's not what you know, it's who you know. Yeah. You have to know about everything and different programs available, but it's also a little bit who you know. Yeah, exactly. So to cover all of that in a very short sort of statement, there are Slack workspaces called stuff like Marketplace Clarity, where the marketplace vendors hang out, help each other. There's online community, there's developer community. That's right. Yes. So you can learn about that. And then there's all of these different programs as well. If you want to be truly successful, especially in the enterprise level of marketplace apps, you've got to go through all the hurdles of marketplace. Yeah, exactly. So you've got to do bug bounty programming. Exactly. And you've got to be cloud fortified. Yes, apps, exactly. Right? Et cetera, et cetera. So there's all of this stuff going on. It costs time, it costs money, it costs energy, etc. But if you truly want to be staff pick, right, you've got to have all of these little boxes ticked off, right? And that comes back to what's the difference between a vendor and a partner? Exactly. That's it. Anyone can go on Marketplace and become a vendor. Anyone can launch an app. If you want to become a partner officially, you've got to have certain boxes ticked, certain amount of installs, show good monthly and annual recurring revenue, right, etc. And a lot of that is sort of what you know, but there is definitely this who you know aspect as well. There's a lot of people out there with a lot of knowledge and a lot of wisdom that can help you, right? Absolutely. Exactly. Yeah. It's really interesting, because those programs are really useful, as you said before, for the enterprise companies, that would like to go to the cloud. They have to tick certain topics about security that will be tackled in Fortify, that will be tackled in the bug bounty program, etc. Bug bounty program is a really good program. We have all our apps are in the bug bounty program, and
it's super interesting, and they make sure that we don't have that our apps, as maybe the vendors and the other partners, that they don't have security vulnerabilities in their apps, because everything's hosted in the Atlassian servers, and stuff like that, and they don't want, they would not like to have those kind of vulnerabilities, right? So it's
bug bounty program is good, and that's again, what are the 100,000 plus pitfalls of being a marketplace partner? Entering bug bounty program forces someone to hire quality assurance, whether it's an internal person full time or it's outsourced to somebody else. And I'm sure people listening to this going, well, hold on a minute, if I get fined the top rank, I think it's like, if you find critical, it's like $1,500 or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, something like that. Yes.
So they're like, well, if they find bugs, like I'm already going to pay, say, whatever per month. It's like, yeah, great, but if you pay for a QA, right?
You will have like
there are app vendors and partners out there who have maybe one bug found a year.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe none.
Yeah,
right. I know some that on average over 3 years it's only 2.
Yes,
so it's less than 1.
Exactly, less than 1.
Right, but I know other people who are afraid to go into bug bounty program because they don't have the time, energy, resources, and they know their app's really buggy and it's not a problem.
That they might be.
If that's the case, and in that in one breath, in one sentence, the statement is, I'm quite buggy. I know bug bounty will find a lot and it will cost me a lot of money. But I'm not willing to pay on QA. You are never going to grow in marketplace. In my opinion, there's many different reasons why maybe somebody wouldn't grow in marketplace with a new app, or any of their apps even existing and they're trying to regrow it. But that statement, that is definitely the ultimate brick wall. Like if you're not in bug bounty, a lot of enterprise customers are just going to look at your app and go, oh, that solves my problem, but not bug bounty. Right, next one. Which one's closer to solving my problem? And huge enterprise customers are also lethal. You could be the best solution, the ultimate golden goose or whatever you want to call it to solving all their problems. And if they don't see cloud fortified, next, you're gone.
That's
right?
it.
So it's really got to think about those programs, the return on investment. What's it going to cost me in time, energy, and effort, compared to how does it expand my markets and how does it get me growing more and more and more?
Exactly. That's really good advice. I like it a lot. And I believe that covers a little bit of the ground that we wanted to touch, because we could stay here and talk about the marketplace for days. Yes, exactly.
I recently got invited. Thanks, Michaela. Michaela. I got invited to the Atlassian Partner Stammtisch.
That's super
cool. So it's like the DACH region, German.
I wish I was invited.
So they, sharing a lot of the pain points. It was solutions and marketplace.
Yes, exactly.
But sharing the pain points of partners, and we really, in this half hour or however long we've been chatting, we're not even tip of the iceberg. I have a saying, and it's really, everyone loves it. I think I invented it. I'm pretty sure I did. Like, we're not at the tip of the iceberg. We're in the hot air balloon, slowly coming down to the tip. Right? This is very big, but I think. I don't even know how to summarize this. It's such a big topic.
Exactly, it's such a big topic. But I hope that we can keep doing this kind of episodes, because you're someone that has a lot of knowledge and sharing it with the rest of the Atlassian partners. It doesn't matter if it's solutions or marketplace partners, is really good. And also the customers would like to know what is happening in the marketplace.
Because it's important for customers. I think I have a massive advantage that I spent almost 11 years on the customer side, dealing with marketplace decisions. That's why my top 5 is so crystal clear.
Yes.
And now I spent 2 years more on the marketplace partner side, so I know the pains of the customers. And then, a lot of times, sorry to swear, customers look at partners and go, what the fuck are you doing? Get your shit together.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not easy, right? So you're able to sort of, to have that engagement with the customers and talk properly. But maybe that's for the next.
That's for the next one. Yeah, exactly.
Talk about both.
Because otherwise, exactly. We will have to be here for days, as we said before. Yeah. But again, thank you very much, Andy. It's a great pleasure that you could come here, to our studio, in Madrid. And I'm looking forward to the next one.
Perfecto.
Okay.
Muchas gracias.
No, a ti. Muchísimas gracias. Till the next one.
Yes.
Bye. See you later. Bye.
Adios. Hasta pronto.